Meeting is called to order. Silence those devices, please. Good afternoon. As I said, I would like to call this meeting to order. And first, I want to say, welcome home. How many in the audience have been traveling this past couple months? Anybody? I have. And it's wonderful to come back home to a beautiful home here in Saddlebrook. And I appreciate all of you coming today. It's great to see you. So let's get started. First of all, I'd like to introduce our board. Starting with Kathleen, let's go across and introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Sartoris, a board member.
I'm Don Taylor, Board Treasurer.
Lionel Quintero, Director.
Joe O'Connor, Director.
Joanne Ellison, President.
Tom Swikowski, Vice President.
Steve Belacqua, Secretary.
Thank you all. And across from us, Marty, first, we have two ex officios. Marty O'Shea is not going to be able to be here for this meeting this afternoon. Across from us, we have Mike Odell, who is our ex officio board member and chair of the ALC, and he will be giving his report, his quarterly report. Now, before I introduce our staff, I want to take a moment because it has been a momentous last couple weeks. First of all, I just want to say we're very happy that Vivian is here. And we're just pleased as punch that you're here. And as president, it has been a privilege and an honor to see our staff in action. I have never been so impressed with the staff in my whole life. I got to tell you, they just were solid behind Vivian. We never missed a beat in any of our operations. Each one of them is an absolute rock star. Yes. Kelly, as you know, and Vivian has started back as our food and beverage director, and we're welcoming her. And now, I want to take a special moment, another special moment among special moments, and that is to just call out Leslie Vanoff, our executive assistant.
The board would actually like to recognize the very important role that our excellent administrative assistant, Leslie, has in our organization. I'm sure that the entire staff and our residents would agree that she is a valued resource in this community. So, if you'll excuse me one moment.
Done. Put on that music, Jason.
What's happening? Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
The board would like to say thank you for all of your efforts.
Thank you, Leslie. It has been said to me she was the glue, and it's a good characterization. She was the glue that held us all together. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. We have in the back there, Jason Rasmussen. I want to introduce our staff that's here today. Jason Rasmussen. How did I do? Rasmussen. I had a teacher in grade school named Mrs. Rasmussen, so it's in my head. I apologize. Leslie Vanoff, Vivian Timian, Mike Triber, our controller, Mike Roddy, Director of Golf and Grounds, John Reed, Director of Operations. And we have lots of interesting and important reports, and we are really looking forward to hearing from all of our presenters. The agenda and the reports have been posted on our website, and let me go over some ground rules. On any item requiring a board vote, action item, residents of our association will have an opportunity to come to the microphone for questions and comments. We ask during this period that you keep your questions and comments addressed to the specific item that we're voting on, and keep your remarks to no more than 2 minutes. Okay. And then, at the end of the meeting, our residents will have the opportunity for further questions and comments of a general nature pertaining to the HOA. We ask that you keep your remarks, again, to no more than 2 minutes. So with that, we'll get started. The first item up is the minutes. Any further additions to the minutes? May I have a motion? Motion to approve the minutes, please.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we come to a consent agenda. No, excuse me. Here we have, we're announcing the appointment of the 2024 Election Committee Chair, and that will be Karen Fleisland. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Vivian Timian, our General Manager.
I appreciate it. Quite a bit went on. We haven't had a board meeting since May, so we've got a couple of months worth of information for the residents. Things are going really well. We got a new clicker here. This is really nice. Yeah, because you know why? This will work on a television screen, so you can use the red pointer, right? Or the green? Oh, it doesn't work very good. That's too bad. Anyway, so sorry, I didn't get to prep anything. I just kind of showed up here today. So anyway, let's take a look at how everybody's doing. Let's take a look at golf first. We always start out with golf. We actually have a lot of fluctuation going in golf. We have 460 annual members right now against a 430. We had 461, but we've got people moving in and out of the community. So we're down to 460, which is still a great number versus the budget. You can see the 53 afternoon annual members for 2024 against a 47, and then a lot of preferred memberships against the 585. This is the only area that we talk about the weather in because weather affects everything golf. So we did have a nice rainstorm yesterday, and hopefully we'll get some more. I think that rain is in the forecast for the next 6 or 7 days. So hopefully we get even more rain, because what that does is lower our water bill, and which is very near and dear to everybody's heart here. So we do have an upcoming event tomorrow. It's going to be pizza and wings and a little bit more than 50 players. It's a 9-hole event, so we're excited about that. But everything is looking very, very good in golf. When we talk about F&B, Kelly Evans, who's back over there, has returned to work as of July 8th. John Reed's folks have installed some sound abatement material in the RRG, and I'm told that it has made a bit of a difference. And we don't know how much. We'll have to do some more quantitative testing after it's all completely finished. August 19th is the big day here, though. That's when the carpet installation, the Vistas, is going to go in, and all dining will move downstairs, and that includes grilling and chilling, burger night, fish fry, and prime and wine. We did need one cook. I met him today. His name is Josh. Sounds like a great guy, and he's very excited to get going. So we're all staffed up, thanks to John Honey, and working with Dylan on that. So that's great. Talking about operations and administration, our home sales really swelled over the last couple of months. We are pretty much on target with budget year to date. One of the things that happened while I was out, the senior managers had an opportunity. We had been working with a club software group, and one of the things, let me back up a little bit. 2.5 years ago? Yeah, about 2.5 years ago, we hired Rich Sandoval. And he came in, and really what we wanted him to focus on was the back end of our software systems. That's the equipment, the switches, cybersecurity, and just basically getting us more on solid footing. He managed to do that, and he's worked very diligently on that. We do have a cybersecurity process right now. We also have a disaster recovery, and he's also managed to work with our current club software, and I think he made 100 requests and got most of them filled. I think he had a 99% target on that. So a lot of the club software that we're working with has gotten kind of cleaned up as a result of his being here. And for the last couple of years, I've heard nothing but, we want the member services, we want member services. Now we're ready to move into member services because we've got the foundation at this point. So about 6 weeks ago, Mike Roddy and myself and Rich met with a outside company. It was North Star. North Star actually owns Chelsea. It seemed like a good match, as well as we've talked to the other HOAs and seen the success that they've had with it. Anyway, we did talk to them. And then last week, Leslie, and this required a lot, because if you've ever tried to get multiple people in different meetings on the same day, it's not an easy thing. It's like herding cats. And she managed to get all the different departments in for 45 minutes at a hit, and they all had an opportunity to talk with the software people to identify exactly what their needs are and what their requirements are. And so a lot of positive remarks about the software, still a lot of questions, but we do have samples out there that certainly Mike Treiber can go out and talk to Heritage Highlands and go see how their accounting team is doing, and Food and Beverage can do the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there using this software, so we want to do a little bit more investigation. We definitely want to look at pricing. We do not have pricing at this point because it depends on how many modules we would pick up. So it's very... we're looking at that right now and identifying exactly what we need to be successful here to improve our member services, but we're excited about this, and Leslie did a great job last week. That's the number one thing, and I wanted to come back, and her and Mike came to my house and they said, "You don't need to come." And so I said, well, I really want to be there. And so I did miss that meeting last Wednesday, not this last Wednesday, but a week ago Wednesday. And it went very, very well. And I'm very pleased at what the staff was able to glean. And maybe it was better that I wasn't there, so I wasn't pushing one way or the other. And so I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about this project. This project will be probably one of our forefront projects for next year. I know that if we're looking at right now, our hope is to implement January of 2026, and there's a 4-month lead time to build a website. And so that's why we're looking very intently now, because of the budgeting process. So this is going to be a big deal for us, and we're really excited about it. If you haven't been up at the clubhouse, we've got new metal artwork out front, and it looks gorgeous. Properties and Roads did that, and we really thank them for driving the project. I know that we've got Susan Allen and Debbie Muse, along with John's in the audience here, John LeBar's in the audience, who runs the Property and Roads Committee. So we're really excited about that as well. It really dresses it up, and I think once we get the new carpet in, we're going to be in a good position. So we're excited about that. So the last thing I wanted to do is thank the staff for all their work in my absence. As I said, Leslie did a lot of coordination. Mike Roddy's been signing all the checks. John Reed had a great coffee. If you didn't go, shame on you, because there's a lot going on in the HOA, and he's at the forefront of it. Mike Treiber worked on all the forecasts so we can get into the budgeting process without a hitch. So just a whole lot of work going on, and they did a great job, and they continue to provide great services for the community. So I do thank the staff. And I also want to thank the residents and the board for their support in my absence. They were really, everyone was sending me notes and just hoping for a speedy recovery. And no one hoping more than the ICU nurses that were taking care of me. They were really happy to see me go. And so things worked out really well, and I'm really happy to be back. So again, thank you to everyone, and I think I'm going to turn this over to Mike Triber, and he can tell you all about what our financials look like.
Thank you, Vivian. Okay, looking at the results for June, HOA, home resales, again, Vivian mentioned that they picked up. They really picked up in June. We had 15 resales versus 10 and a half budgeted. That puts us at 63 year-to-date versus 62 and a half budgeted. So very positive there. It looks like we've taken a turn. In the other general income, we're 61,000 better than budget year-to-date. That's royalty income and interest income that's driving that. Looking at the roads, we're 273,000 better. That's timing. In fact, by the end of the year, we'll be $215,000 worse than budget because we have approved additional work. The board has approved additional work that's going to be done on Ridgeview Segment 3. So that's going to actually put us over budget in the roads at the end of the year. General administration, we're 16,000 better than budget. That's mostly labor. In the services, we're 104,000 better year-to-date as of June. That is mostly outside services followed by labor. And in the amenities, we're worse than budget. That's property insurance, utilities, and supplies and chemicals. Questions? Looking at golf, of course, annual fees are positive. They'll remain positive for the balance of the year with the number of annuals we have that Vivian just mentioned as well. Dailies, we're better than budget year to date. We were worse in the month. Other income is better year to date and in the month. Looking at golf shop net sales, that's positive 43,000, almost 44,000, and that's due to early on having good weather and success of events. Golf course maintenance is 101 better than budget year to date. That's supplies and chemicals, water, and labor. Now some of that money on supplies and chemicals will get spent later in the year. Golf operations is worse than budget, 18,500. That's mostly labor. Golf shop cost of sales is running better than budget year to date at 63% versus 64% budgeted. Bottom line, they're 21,000 better in the month and almost 162,000 better than budget on net income year to date. Questions? Food and beverage, 28,000 worse than budget year to date. Most of that is food. In fact, in both beer and liquor, we're doing quite a bit better than budget, so people are drinking more than they're eating, evidently. Looking at cost of sales, we're at 34% year-to-date, which is on budget. Labor cost ran significantly higher in the month of June. It was 75 versus 66 budgeted. Still, we're better than budget year-to-date at 64% versus 66% of gross sales. Other expenses is 39 worse year-to-date, so that's variable expenses and general expenses. Bottom line, year-to-date, we're just a little worse than budget on F&B net, so that's positive. Questions on food and beverage? Bottom line, total net, we're 22,000 better in the month and 581 year-to-date. Now, a lot of that, we're currently 273,000 better than budget on the roads, and that's due to timing, as I mentioned. So if that was not in there, we'd only be 309 better than budget. Looking at the cash flows, or the cash position, we're at 10.6 million at the end of June. We're in a very positive cash position. In the month of June, I completed, or I moved $500,000 from the operations into the replacement reserve. And then again in July, I moved another $500,000. So we have completely funded the replacement reserve for the year at $2,077,000. Also, we had $176,000 June year to date in home resale fees, and in July, I moved that money into the capital improvement fund from operations. Questions? Looking at the cash outflows and the replacement reserve. So we have a whole series of computer workstations that were purchased on this page and then running into the next page. That was a total of $22,616 that was purchased. And it is better than budget because those were all budgeted about $2,000 and they all came in a little bit under. We purchased the IBS network server and the SQL license for that server. That's final at the end of June at $22,722. Looking at the F&B server room, that's final at the end of June. That was an emergency purchase, as a matter of fact. So $3,221 for that. Oh, the Catalina drainage, that's final at the end of June. This is one piece of it. The other piece came in right on budget. This was budgeted at about $272,000. It came in at about $306,000, so it came in over budget by about $34,000. In facilities maintenance, we had an emergency purchase to repair the fire pit. That came in at $3,150. The crawl space in the annex building was completed, the re-insulation of that. It was budgeted at $8,100. It came in at $3,950. In food and beverage, we had an emergency purchase for a dishwasher. That came in at $5,698. Questions? Golf course maintenance. As a matter of fact, all the projects here we've got these are all ongoing projects. So we've got cash outflows for the sprayers. One of those was purchased. I think the other one was actually purchased in July. Fairway top dressing and so on. But these are ongoing projects. I'll speak to those further when they're final. And yeah. So bottom line, we had $2.2 million budgeted, and we're forecasting $2.7 at this time, $977,000 year to date. Questions on the replacement reserve? And in the capital improvement fund, there were no completed projects, no final projects for the month of June. Thank you. ALC.
Okay, the quarterly report for the second quarter. It does work. All right. This compares 2023 to 24, and as you can see, we had quite a few less permits issued this second quarter. Joanne earlier had mentioned vacations. Well, I think people are finally spending their money now that COVID is passing and going on vacations. If we look up there, the only thing I do want to point out is the exterior paints. We are offering the online option, but as we look at that, a good third of people still want to come in, even though the option is there to do it online, because they like to talk to a person. And so many people come in just to do that, although it's been very successful doing it online. Any question about the permits for quarter two? And here's the revenue for 23 to 24. And our revenue obviously is slightly down due to the fact that we're issuing fewer permits. It makes logical sense to me. And little change up here, and we had a little question last time I presented. Here we switched to quarters because we do see a change in violations from one quarter to another, and we see violations being resolved. We issued only 15 violations in quarter two as opposed to 57, and we resolved, although those violations were issued, those 41 in quarter one, that most of them were resolved. The residents took care of the problem before we had to move forward to the next step. We only finally ended up issuing 5 assessments to 5 people. Questions about the revenue or the violations?
Mike, I have
Yes.
a quick question.
Sure.
This is some feedback that I've heard in the neighborhood, so,
Sure.
you know, we need facts, right, always. And with the revenue,
Yes.
so I know that this is obviously not a big money-making thing, but where does the revenue go?
Oh, you missed the party? Oh, no, I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't invited, not
I
surprising.
thought that. I didn't mean to say that. Vivian would be better to answer that.
The money goes back into the operating account. We actually fund an ALC secretary. It's pretty much a part-time position because it's splitting there between that and safety compliance. So that money helps offset that salary.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for,
Yeah. It's always a question we answer every once in a while. 'Cause
right.
It's quite a bit of
that's-
money, but
If somebody's really looking at it, then they're like, well, where's that? Yeah.
It's nice that
Party
they're
sounds
looking at
good
it.
though too,
Yeah.
but I don't think Vivian wants.
that didn't happen. And then finally, our information line calls from year to year. People use that information line a lot each quarter. We answer a lot of questions. Our people are very busy answering those questions. Any further questions?
Mike, you do such a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
And I
that.
think that residents, you know, when you get a notice from the ALC, these are volunteers, and they're just trying to do their job and improve the community. And if you if you feel that you've been wrongly singled out, let them know, and they'll recheck your premises and they'll do what they can. But their intentions are very good. They really work well for the most part with the residents. So please, I think thanks are in order because it is a thankless job sometimes. So thank you.
Thank you. I do want to, thank you. Thank you. I do want to point out, we have corrected a couple errors. Our people do make errors. They missee things. They don't see things, even though they've driven that neighborhood many times. And they drive by the 5th time and, oh, I didn't notice that. So we do make mistakes, but they are volunteers and they work very hard,
They're volunteers and they're reasonable.
for the most
Okay?
part.
So please respect, mutual respect.
Thank you. Current activities include, we review and approve permits, and as we have seen, we do a lot of home inspections. And we make sure that a property, when it comes to a new owner, doesn't have a violation. And we spend a lot of time looking at properties doing that. And then we want to assist residents with compliance with the guidelines. That sometimes involves issuing a courtesy warning. Oftentimes, it's just a phone call. And we do consistently and constantly train our staff so we're consistent. We all want to have the same eyes together. And it's very hard to get agreement amongst a group of 7 people. What is a violation? How many weeds are too many weeds? And that's very hard to do. But we work on that. We have articles in the communicator, and I'm currently writing an article right now. We have talked about weeds in the past, and the fact that most projects, not all projects, that will modify or change the exterior of a Saddlebrook 1 home will require a permit from the ALC. Most, but not all. So if you have a question, check first. And we actually issue thank yous. In the last communicator, we had a thank you for what a great job people have been doing with their lawn care, keeping care of the weeds, and mailboxes. Mailboxes are a consistent issue, and many, many people have taken care of that. And finally, normally, we meet with HOA ALC to find areas of common interest. However, we're on a hiatus over the summer due to the fact that their leadership are snowbirds, and they're out of town right now. So we'll be meeting again next fall. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda. Okay, we have a consent agenda. Is there a motion? Can I have a motion for the?
I move to approve the items on the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Wait, hold on. Do I need to, on a consent agenda, should I call for resident? I don't think I need, no. Okay, all in favor was yes. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is passed. What's the next item?
Yeah, we've
okay.
got a lot of projects up there. I'm going to start with the road work, and then I'm going to hit it over to John Reed, because he's got a whale of a list there. The seal coat work is about 80% completed. The problem is that we had some lifting of the seal coat, and they will be back in September to correct those issues. And then the road resurfacing phase on Ridgeview, we were going to be doing some milling September 2nd through the 5th, and then we will actually be laying pavement the first week in October 7th through the 13th, to allow for that work in Ridgeview to get done. So John Reed, it's your turn.
Hi, this is John Reed. The golf shop interior design project is going along good. We're still waiting on getting a final design, conceptual design from the interior designer. Should be here in about a week from the interior designer. The Agave South entrance door replacement is in production, and they're telling me early September is when it will arrive, so we can install that. That's only a one-day install. The Vista sound system upgrades, those parts are on order, and hopefully by the end of August, we'll have those parts here to be able to install them right after we do the carpet. Air handler 13 and 14, those are programmed for the shutdown in October. One of those have already arrived to the contractor, and all the parts are here, just waiting on the last one to arrive. We still got a couple months for that to arrive, so those are programmed for the shutdown. The administrative carpet area is complete, looks really nice up there. Chiller condenser water pumps are also programmed for the shutdown period as well. The Creative Arts and Wellness woodshop architectural engineering drawings, that's going very well. We sent our application to the county, and a lot of dialogue between myself and the county as far as what they require with that. And we are doing as for our parking variance. The architectural engineering team is doing very well. They just finished up all their surveying documents and things like that. The drawings themselves are about 60% done. We have a meeting scheduled for the end of August with all the different groups that will be utilizing this facility to talk directly with the architectural team individually by team separately. And then hopefully September timeframe we'll do I forget the name of it, a town hall meeting with the HOA. And then from there we'll get our finishing up our construction drawings, and hopefully programming around November timeframe for sending out to get to the county for permitting. Let's see here. Vista carpet and table chairs, that's scheduled to start on the 19th of August. It'll last about 6 to 7 days. That includes the Javelina room, all the inserts in the hallway, and the library insert as well. Bocce ball court renovation, those parts are in order. Some of them have already arrived, and that is scheduled with the contractor early September. They haven't given me an exact date yet, but early September to start that project. And the community common area utility vehicle is on order from Toro, and they have not given us any kind of indication when that's coming. I'm sure it's on back order like the rest of the golf equipment.
John, a A question on the Vista sound system upgrade. I get a lot of questions about that. If I understand that correctly, then once we get to all the parts in that sound system, we'll have a central control point where the volume in the Vermilion room, the Vistas, and the Agave can be adjusted separately.
That's
So-
correct. There'll be one main control point, which will be right there by the hostess station, and there'll be 3 zone controllers, which one will be the Vermilion room, the South Agave area, and then also by the food and beverage station there, food and beverage office area, which will control that zone as well. And it'll just be simply pushing the button and turning on the zone you want to turn up or down, and then the volume to go along with that.
Okay, so the food and beverage management team will be controlling that volume?
There'll be a training process and also an SOP and protocols of how to operate that with the food and beverage management team.
Okay. I think the residents will really be happy with that control of the volume and throughout the whole upstairs.
Right. That's the feedback I'm getting too from different sources that, especially the Vermilion room, when the different dance groups and exercise groups go in there, to be able to utilize that speaker system and be able to control it directly from that space directly, instead of having to find somebody to control it without them having control over it.
Hey, John, do we have any emergency generating capacity at all?
We do. We only have a small generator which sits over behind the annex building, which only supplies emergency power to our IT, or portion of our IT area.
How about refrigeration and stuff like that?
We do not.
No. How much would we lose if we,
It really depends on how long it was out for. In the past, we've had, challenges where, a compressor would go out, and we would have Shamrock bring in a trailer, was able to offload the refrigerator or freezer, put it in the trailer while we did those repairs. It would really depend on how long the outage would be for. As far as losing anything, I don't think we lose anything, because we have that source to be able to call in the trailer to have it portable, set on site to be able to keep it cool. It's just how long that would have to be on site for.
okay. That IT capacity, is that battery?
We have it's got a battery source as well. Battery covers it while it transfers over to the generator, and then once the generator starts, then the generator takes it over. Now that's only for I would say about 75% of our IT support. Anything inside the clubhouse is IT related. I would say, about 75% of our IT stuff is supported by battery or generator.
Okay.
Are there any lessons learned from this recent out there automation outage around the world in terms of IT systems and the necessary backup?
There has been, and I'd probably refer to have Rich answer that question a little better. He does have a screen in his office that shows where those outages are happening and what they entail. He's more versed on how that affects the overall infrastructure of our infrastructure. I know he's done a lot of work on firewalls and security measures to mitigate that. But as far as when it happens on a big scale like that there, it's one of those things where we're trying to do all we can within our power.
And we're one deep in that IT position. Is there some sort of formal effort ongoing with this young man, TJ, so that we have a backup person other than just Rich?
We do. TJ's done a great job with our computers and working with our staff. But we also do employ, at times, we've brought in Eric Lashonik's team to help with switch installations and helping Rich get more of the technical aspects done. So we do rely a little bit on contractors. It's mostly falling to Rich, though, for that leadership in looking at where are we going and what are we doing. So I think that's where we're at. And Eric, and just to let everyone know, Rich is going to be at the next coffee, because I've asked him to attend to talk about the CrowdStrike issue and what's going on. We looked at CrowdStrike as a possibility to install, but it was $70,000. It really is a corporate cybersecurity measure. And Rich has attended Black Hat, which is a hackers convention over in Las Vegas for the last couple of years. And he was looking for some cybersecurity that would actually match our needs, and he came back with Mastergy as probably the best. It's a $26,000 solution. And per year. So we went ahead and implemented that. And one of the things we implemented at the same time was Comcast is the owner of Mastergy, and Comcast took our PRI lines, which is our private rate, or 23 telephone lines, if you will, and they dropped our telephone bill. We were paying $800 to $900 a month. That telephone bill has dropped to $225 per month. So that was some of the offset against the Mastergy software. The one thing that Mastergy allows you to do versus a sonic wall, which is what we had before, a sonic wall is like somebody on the outside knocking on the door, and you have no visibility as to who it is. You just know somebody's knocking, but maybe you don't. I mean, somebody's out there. It's just like somebody's lurking. Mastergy, what it does is it actually identifies if somebody's trying to get in, and it will send an email, and right now I get the emails along with Rich, and it tells them Trojan software malware is trying to get in. And so what they do is they block it, and then they sock it. And so it's kind of an interesting software, so it actually tells us, you know, how much at risk we are and what's going on, but it gives Rich much better visibility to what's happening within the IT world for us. And so, again, I mean, we've put in some pretty costly measures, but I think they're going to work for us, and I think that that's where we're headed in the future, because AI is just around the corner, and Rich has got some great ideas to bring some AI software in as well to help us with member services and the whole IT group. So we're excited about where we're headed.
Different topic. What's the status of the redoing the road on Saddlebrook Boulevard for the county?
Oh, county, you want to tell them that?
The county they are going to do that, but they're going to wait until after the election period because of we are a polling area for the election. So they're going to wait till probably, towards September to start that project.
Actually, August, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll do it because the primary's on July 30th.
Yep.
They were worried about impeding people for the primary.
Oh, just the primary, not the.
No, because they'll have it done well before the general election.
Well before the general, before Fry's is built.
I think we might be surprised.
All right, you ready for the green ones? All right, lease. We did get several pieces of equipment over the last 2 months, believe it or not. And so we have 3 fairway mowers left to receive to finalize that lease package. So Mike and his staff are extremely excited to have some new pieces down there. We did receive the second sprayer this week. So we now have both new sprayers. So that project will be closed out here shortly. The lift, we're still waiting for that attachment. We're trying to get them down here to get it installed even without it. Struggling a little bit with that. We're going to keep working on trying to get them down to get that lift in. Community storm drainage, reset and repair, that project is complete. I would like to see a little bit more rain. It'd be nice it's handled everything well so far, but more rain is good for the golf course, and I'd like to see that drainage work a little bit more. Bunker sand will be ongoing all summer. Mike did a few bunkers on Saddlebrook the last 2 weeks, and so you'll really see that ramp up now that we're kind of through our main cultural program on all 3 courses. So he'll be focusing on that in August and September. Fairway top dressing is ongoing all the way up until overseeding. Course improvements. So Mike Gogol was on site in July. If you've been on Tucson since it reopened, you saw some of the changes to number 3 and number 9. Mike's planning to open those to play next week. So we'll have that modified area behind the green on 3 open for play, as well as the new forward tee box on 9. And then the turf nursery work will continue into August and September. And the cart path replacement is complete. It was done over the last 6 weeks, so that project will be completed here shortly.
I've got a question of the bunker on the par 5 on Tucson, that little pot bunker. Was that supposed to be replaced?
Which par 5? Number
6.
3 or 6?
Number 6.
Was it supposed to be replaced? Well, it's in the master plan to eventually redo those greenside bunkers and those fairway bunkers on number 6. So
No, I was talking about the pot bunker up on, by the green. I thought you were going to take that out.
Yeah, that is in the master plan. It was part of the original plan we had going into this year, but obviously things got adjusted a little bit. So that's still something we'd like to get done, for sure.
Okay, completed projects, the annex flooring is done. We budgeted originally $9,500, $1,385. They did that project in-house completely. The land feasibility study we talked about last board meeting in May, and basically that was a design, and we got the drainage information and everything. We did spend $9,723. The board approved $19,750, but given the original or the initial drainage issues that had with the property, we have enough information that I think that we understand the difficulties in building over there, but it doesn't leave the land out as a total possibility, because I think there are things that potentially, given enough funding and given enough opportunities, we could do something with that land. Point-to-point golf course maintenance, the clubhouse, basically we have what they call a Tarango, and it's a line of sight, and it runs from the clubhouse all the way down to the golf course maintenance area. It did lose connectivity back in May, I think it was, and Rich worked on that and got that up and running at a cost of $4,000. We're looking at an 8-year lifespan on that. And the cooling tower, louvers and motor, and I'm not even sure you folks knew it, we did lose cooling in the clubhouse during the month of May, and we moved everything downstairs in order to take advantage of the cooler weather. And John Reed and his team, along with, was it Sun Mechanical? Or was that Tolan? Tolan came in and replaced that motor up there. And he also identified, he's got a critical part online right now, so that if we do have that problem in the future, there won't be any delays in changing out that motor. We're looking at 7 years on that particular project. As we said, the community storm drainage is done. I put a useful life of 20 years in there. It's going to be a lot longer than that, though, but we have to put something in for useful life on re-insulating the annex building, looking at 10 years, and then all the computer equipment that is replaced usually has a 5-year lifespan, with exception to the servers, and we give the servers 7 years, as you can see there. We did have some battery backups that needed to be replaced, and so we put those in, and we did talk about the fire pit flame connections and the dishwasher that was purchased in 2017. We got good use out of it. We really did, but it was time to put it to bed. It wasn't quite cleaning the glasses correctly. And I don't think there's anybody happier than the food and beverage people, because they were actually taking the glasses from the bar and they were taking them all the way downstairs to the Roadrunner Grill to wash them. So, but we didn't hold up any drinks. We made sure the drinks were still flowing. So, those are all the projects. And so now I'm going to turn it over to John Reed, and he's going to talk about quite a few different maintenance projects that he's got going on.
Yes, we have the, this is John Reed, install the metal caps on the clubhouse, fitness center, and the exposed truss tails. The buildings were built with a unique architectural feature with a tail that sticks out beyond the normal roof line there. So, and those tails are made out of wood, and over the years, the weather has just taken its toll on that wood. They do have a water drip edge on the top of it, but they're not completely wrapped with any kind of material that would protect it from the weather. So I think over the years, they're definitely showing wear. We need to go ahead and get a cap on those. Some of the bigger ones already have caps on them. For some reason, at some point, they put caps on the big ones, but all the smaller tails don't have anything on them at all. Let's see, many of these become, and none of them have, the issues that's going on now, it doesn't have any structural issues going on. It's more of a cosmetic and aesthetic vision of it, but we got to protect it so it doesn't get any worse. There's just some pictures of some of the tails there. You can see on that left picture there. on the left there. Right there, you see some of that rotting up going on up there. Once you put a cap on that, it'll protect it from getting any worse. Then also on the one on the right, this is one out in front of the clubhouse. You see some deterioration going on up there on the truss tail itself, where we need to get those wrapped. They do have a small drip edge, but that all should be encased in some type of material to protect it from the weather. They all can be installed without any interruption to normal operations. The only exception to that would be the ones down and directly above the golf cart parking or directly in front of the Roadrunner Grill. We got to get a big lift up there to reach up there and get those truss tails covered. And I'll coordinate that with the golf operations team to get that lift in there to make that happen. It will take several days. This will probably be over about 2 months to get all these done once they get them here, because it's very time consuming. We'll probably start with the fitness center first and get a science down to it, so to speak, before we jump onto the higher ones on the clubhouse. We definitely will need a large boom to get the ones on the east side of the clubhouse. Now I got 2 bids. There wasn't very many people out there who were interested in doing this because it is so labor intensive. And I actually had a cap made that I want put on there and showed them what I wanted to put on there, and also gave them that source to make them, mass produce them, to be able to install them. So we went down to Premier Roofing and also Martinez Construction, and Premier Roofing just had a better process behind it, and they said they had a bigger crew to do it, and also they were willing to tackle those long beams that needed a different type of wrap on them, where the other one just didn't want to have anything to do with anything outside of them all being the same.
Okay, we're at the point of putting the motion on the table. So can I have a motion?
I move to approve the installation of metal caps on the clubhouse and fitness center truss tails at a cost of $33,166, which includes a 3% contingency. Funds to come from the operating fund in accordance with the Saddlebrook 1 procurement policy.
Second.
Okay, board discussion. Questions? Any questions? Go ahead.
One of the quotes, I think, said that if the wood is deteriorated, that the quote wouldn't be valid, or that you'd have to repair the truss first.
Right.
Have you been up there to know that that's not going to be an issue?
None of them are gone to the point where you can attach the cap, because there's going to be a sleeve that kind of slides over it's a boot that slides over the end of it, and it's going to attach from inside underneath the roof to where the wood is definitely solid enough to be able to attach it to that area.
Okay. And then the difference in the quotes were fairly substantial. Did the $24,300, did that include, or it did not include the long trusses?
That's correct.
Why it's
Yeah,
so
they didn't
much-
want anything to do with that because they'd had to custom make something, because I gave them the cap that I wanted to use on all the other ones, and they didn't have the means to go out and get a person to make those custom made on site to be able to install them on those long. There's only 2 of them that had to be done, but they're significant enough to where they need to be covered and included. They're on the south side of the clubhouse entrance. As you walk up to the clubhouse, there's 2 large beams there that need to be covered.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, any questions from our residents? Can you get over to Roland, the microphone? Oh, I'm sorry. If you are stiff or you don't want to come to the microphone, we'll arrange for the microphone to be brought to you.
Name is Roland Daramont, Unit 1, Lot 101. I just have a question for John. In the past, John, on an issue like that I've had at a different house, what I did is I used cool coating. I sealed the things with cool coating, then I wrapped the fiberglass netting for cool coating around them, cool coated them again, waited to let them dry for about a week or two, and painted them to match the rest of the wood. And what happens with the cool coat, it seals out all the moisture. So with the netting around it, it reinforces it, and it looks great. Just a thought.
I looked at several options, and that was one of the options I actually looked at. That requires 3 different visits to that tail.
Yeah.
And when they're in order 65 feet in the air, they get a boom up there 3 times. And that's why I wanted to extend the caps past underneath the roof so I could get them sealed underneath with one trip up there. It just reduces the time and effort to get up there and do
Okay,
that.
all right, thank you.
Any other resident comment? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Portico, permanent lighting, holiday, and safety lighting. You know, on the portico, we have lights out there now. However, when in a certain part of the year, like in the wintertime, when it gets dark a little sooner, when you have events inside, it's very difficult for the residents to see as you're walking outside on the portico area, and then that's also a traffic area. So the idea there is to increase that lighting in that area for safety, and also have the ability to highlight that area during holiday seasons, you know, during New Year's, Christmas, any holiday whatsoever, and also make it energy efficient so we can actually make it look nice. So I went out to a couple different companies, and the challenge here was finding one that was rated for outdoor lighting. It would weather when they were outside like that. The delivery on these things is about 60 days out. Once we signed the contract, and they are going to require 50% down. There's a couple houses in here in Saddlebrook that have these lights on their houses they use them for Christmas lights primarily, and I was able to check to make sure the lumens was enough to where when they're actually illuminated, they're actually going to provide the 20 lumens per light to the ground to provide an actual safety walk area out there as well. M&M holiday lighting and also trim lighting. M&M had a 5-year warranty on the lights, and they are here local, and he's ready to install these once we tell him we can. The other ones only had a 1-year warranty, and I think with this harsh sun here in Arizona, 1 year is just not enough for outside lighting. It's just not worth it.
Go ahead. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the installation of permanent holiday and safety lighting in the clubhouse portico at a cost of $8,048, which includes a 3% contingency, funds to come from the Replacement Reserve Fund in accordance with the Saddlebrook One procurement policies.
Second.
Questions from the board?
John, on the lights, is it going to be possible, you know, in the lights on the west portion of the portico, to cant them slightly forward so that it would illuminate the steps, you know, as you go on there?
To some degree, yes, until we actually get them up there to see exactly how much illuminated the steps. Worst case scenarios, we add some additional lighting on the steps themselves, which is pretty easily done. Once those lights are installed, they'll also be controlled by the building management system to where they'll actually come on with the normal outside lighting, and they're dimmable, and you can make all kinds of, you know, flashy or holiday type stringing of the lights as well. So I think it's a matter of just adding more lights down the road once we determine if there's not enough on that step area.
I had a question. So I understand this is tying in, so it makes the holiday lighting better. Is there any holiday, you know, we had the hanging icicles for a while. I mean, when you're saying it ties in, you're just talking about the system, correct?
Well, it ties into our building management system currently,
Right.
but it also prevents us from having to put those Christmas lights up again. So we can use those lights instead of the icicle lights, and we can use them during the Christmas time. Because those lights for Christmas, just that portico area is about a 4 or 5 hour job for 3 guys to put those lights up there with a lift. Now we'll no longer have to do that,
Okay.
just in the portico area.
But they're not looking like Christmas all the time. Are you talking about changing the colors or?
Oh, yeah, they can be white, they can be,
So
they can
that's
be whatever
where
color, they can all be red, they can all be multicolored lights, very flexible, it's all done from an app on your phone. And yes, it
Yeah.
can be just left on a white or a soft white for the safety aspect of it all.
Right, okay. So they're two different things, but the system is going to be able to accommodate all of that. So,
Yes.
okay.
We may limit access to that capability, but once we get them set on a normal 300 days a year, they'll be white, a soft white to illuminate the walkway.
Okay.
Unless we set them up for a holiday period.
I see.
Will there be a green option for St. Patrick's Day?
You sure will be.
Okay. Well, there you go. That was kind of my question. I think it will be better than, hanging up lights anyway. So that's great. Okay. Thank you.
Resident comments on this project, questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Renovation of the fitness center, women's shower area. Here's a couple pictures of the women's shower areas. You can see on the picture on the left where the grout in this tile is just, once you try to clean it really good, you basically are scrubbing the grout out of the tile. And then it's an endless battle of replacing that grout. And the same thing with the grout on the sidewalls. So the idea here is to take all this tile out and put a tile that's much larger. I have a bunch of samples back here that come in 24 inches by 48 inches length. So it's a very large tile that will go the full length of the wall and only be like 4 or 5 high up that wall. So you have very minimal grout lines. Then on the floor, we're replacing that drain with a elongated drain that goes wall to wall, where then you can have the back pitched to the forward and the front pitched back, maintaining your transition going into the shower, but making a long drain there, and it'll be 2 pieces of tile and maybe 3 once you get them in there, very minimizing the decreasing the amount of grout lines you have in there. And also the shower head, all the shower fixtures will be replaced. We will be reusing the shower seats and the shower rod, the curtain rods. We'll be putting new curtains themselves up when we put this back together. And the soap niche, we're going to make the soap niche that's in there a little bit larger and go from stud to stud in there, so we can get a little more area there to put your toiletries and stuff in there. Yeah, all of them are showing definite signs of deterioration when we try to clean them. When they were originally installed, these showers as well, years ago they used a mastic to put on the shower walls to prevent the water intrusion. Now they have a membrane that you wrap the inside of the shower before you put the tile on to create that waterproof barrier. And that's the new approved method of actually building showers now instead of a mastic. So it's much more waterproof in a sense of when you put those together. And that's the more effective method of doing that. And nowadays you have to get an inspection on a shower wall from the county when you do these inspections to make sure that they know that your walls are lined properly now and not using mastic in showers instead of the membrane. Because it's, if you get water in your walls, and it creates a lot of different issues altogether. We're going to reuse existing grab bars, shower seats, and all the hooks, and install 3 new fixtures. It is going to be about a 7 to 10 day project, so that whole shower bathroom area will have to close down for a period of time to make this project happen, which includes the entire women's restroom in the fitness center. We did have a small group of people select the tiles of the samples. I had Bree take those tile samples over there and had a small group of gals come show us what they wanted, and also to choose the type of shower fixtures we're going to put back in there as well. In the men's side, we went to a different route with the men's shower fixtures. We picked 3 different kinds of shower heads because different people like different types of showers. We may end up doing the same thing in the women's side because they like different types of, some like the rain, some like the harsh water, and it's just a matter of what we decide to put in there, what we're going to replace them with, probably whatever they want in there as far as a fixture. Got a couple Northwest Builders and Martinez Construction. Northwest Builders is James Widow, you may know him. He's also the one that did the showers in the main pool area. Did a really good job. I think I did that when I first got here back in 2018 or 19, I can't even remember now. But he did a really good job on those showers, and I think that he's going to do these as well, the same way.
I move to approve the replacement of 3 fitness center women's shower surrounds at a cost of $30,128, which includes a 3% contingency. Funds to come from the replacement reserve fund in accordance with the Saddlebrook One procurement policy.
Yes, sir.
2 questions. How long ago did you do the men's showers, and how has it worked out?
I wasn't here when they did the men's showers. I heard a couple of stories, I guess, when they did those. Those pieces of sheet granite that was put in there was very thin, and they broke several pieces of it trying to get it into that room to get it installed. And I guess the original plan was to do the women's side, but so many of the pieces were broke, they couldn't finish up the women's side when they tried to do that. So they ended up using what they had to finish up the men's side.
We did it in about 2018.
Yeah.
So this is done. Oh, no, wait a second, I'm sorry, about 2016.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, to get a 4x5 or 4x9 piece of granite into the bathroom without breaking it around those corners, because there's a lot of different corners in there, is a challenge. That's why I think the 24x48 tiles is the best of both worlds.
Aye.
Hello, everyone. I understand I'm probably the main thing standing between you and the door, so we'll get started here right away. Those of you in the room may have heard me speak publicly for the first time at Saddlebrook One was last fall for the candidate forum. And the main point I made in opening my comments is that Saddlebrook One is a tremendously successful community. And I had seen nothing but improvements in the 7 years that we had lived here. And I continue to believe that, and that was in the campaign materials, I said I wanted to be part of continuing that success story. And that was the driving force for me, behind me initiating this initiative, in January of this year. So that process that we followed, if I can find the right button here, the green. Oh, okay, I got that one now. There we go. This one here, I guess the board members can autograph that later if you'd like. We started in late January with a straw man plan that was presented and the board approved, sending it out to all residents for comments and questions. And we received 335 well thought out comments and questions. And these were all analyzed by the board and sorted by category. And then we also had the staff commenting on all of this. And we had work sessions in April and May, which were open to all residents, where we rolled our sleeves up and worked on it, made no decisions. And then the last step was for the board in May approve the appointment of a task force with Kathleen Sartoris, Steve Belacqua, and Mike Odell and myself to come to this point and present a final plan for review at this meeting. The process began with us visiting the vision statement. The previous vision statement, or the current one, reads, "Be the active adult community of choice in Arizona." Great feedback from homeowners who said, I think we got to dig deeper into this and think a little higher about what do we want the vision for Saddlebrook 1 to be. So we went to work on that and we came up with this. This is what we've envisioned that Saddlebrook 1 should be now and in the future. To continue as an outstanding, I might get that thing here yet. Okay. To continue as an outstanding 50-plus active adult community in scenic Arizona, offering an unparalleled lifestyle, contemporary amenities, clubs and activities that promote excellence and the well-being of its residents. We then moved on to the mission statement. We expanded the description of each mission item per resident's request, and we also added in there operational efficiency and safety. Safety was really brought up very, very often with the comments from residents as a very important factor in their decision to live here. We didn't, at the time the board started this process, have a statement of values. Values which would state how we see ourselves doing business and how we make decisions, both at the board level and the staff. And it was important that we promote respect among residents and employees alike, that we have open and timely communications. And last Friday, I mentioned at the general manager's coffee that I think that's just a perfect example of the management and the board's openness to listen to your thoughts and concerns. Responsible fiscal management and reporting, and then a commitment to continual improvement and integrity. To answer the question, where does the association stand today? We did what's called a SWOT analysis, an analysis of our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I don't want to go through every one of these line by line because you've had the opportunity to read all of it, but I'd like to pull out just a couple. First, the strength and financial position. We have a very strong financial position. And we've all seen, the social media humdrum and the arguing and bitterness that evolves, that is created when you don't have solid financial position. We also have very diligent planning processes. I knew we had planning processes, but over the course of this first year, I followed the financial planning process that this committee and board follow are very, very rigidly outlined and really produce a great product, which again, all of the homeowners have the opportunity to attend those meetings and participate. And the final strength I'd like to call out is volunteerism. I've never been anywhere in my life in a community where there is so much volunteerism. You go from the Saddlebrook Outreach to all of the folks who volunteer to be on these committees. Senior Village, the list just goes on and on and on. Like the beautification processes that have taken place in Property and Roads with Debbie Muse and Susan Allen. It's just a remarkable strength we have here. In terms of weaknesses, yes, we have a shortage of space. We're just basically landlocked, but so we're looking to use the space as efficiently as we can. And opportunities for the future, certainly the planning for the Creative Arts and Wellness Center is going to be a huge plus, not only for our association, but also for Saddlebrook too. And then there's a lot of interest, more interest than I ever thought in a woodworking facility. So we're going to do a feasibility on that, and we will have I think we do have a design, architect's rendering for that facility. And that'll also be discussed at the town hall meetings when we get more data and permits in place. In terms of threats, the termination of the reciprocal use agreement, based upon the feedback from homeowners and the staff and board members, would be very detrimental to both communities if that were terminated. But I can tell you that in monitoring the interaction and the planning for this Community Arts and Wellness Center, the wonderful interaction and unified effort of folks from Saddlebrook 2 and Saddlebrook Run has really been admirable. So we had determined, where we are and where we want to go with a vision statement. So now the question is, how do we get there? And the feedback from homeowners in the straw man plan that we sent out, they didn't feel that there was enough emphasis on all amenities. So we put this as the number one goal, is to provide excellent amenities and activities to promote healthy living. And that healthy living is really very important, and a strong sense of community. So I've talked already about the Creative Arts and Wellness Center, but by next June, so that you'll understand what that next step is, to complete the design, funding plan, and construction drawings of the center by the end of next June. Then the question is, you get all the permits, is the funding feasible? I talked about the woodworking center of that, continue cooperation with Saddlebrook 2 in areas of common interest, and then continue to publicize available working options. I know that the Property and Roads and the Health, Wellness, and Recreation is also working at producing better maps, so we look at the walking options that are available in the entire community. And we're also, the Saddlebrook Public Affairs Commission is staying in touch with the county about the potential expansion of the trail along the wash all the way from the Catalina State Park all the way up to the biosphere. Possible. That's just a possible project on the part of the county. Goal number 2 is that it relates to high quality, cost efficient food and beverage service that meets you, the homeowner's expectations. Kelly came in and looked at all of these, and she's got her new plan launched here in terms of training, incorporate personal management strategies that possibly would lower the cost of labor and cost of goods, but at the same time providing excellent dining experiences to everyone. And then we also want to reach out to units, departments, et cetera, and ask, do we have other dining options that you would like to see? We want to maintain a competitive golf operations and activities that provide a high-quality golf experience for Saddlebrook residents. We have a very successful golf program. Between Mike Roddy and Jane and Molly Fullerton, they've come up with new golf programs that talk about more training, more creative events. Then also they cooperate with the food and beverage department on that, so that we're bringing people together again for that greater sense of community, but also to benefit the bottom line. And then they'll continue to improve teaching and training programs that drive interest in golf across the community. Goal number 4 is, this is a challenging one. You want to maintain a competitive posture in the southern Arizona 55 plus active adult community. In my key point there is that in that second bullet is I think one of the key ways to do this is to continue as a model community. Now, and some of the elements of being a model community is maintaining the facilities, excellent management, which we have, roads. Our roads are in fantastic condition compared to the average homeowners association. Our common areas and amenities that complement our mountain and desert vista. And then we also need to provide we continue to provide a competitive and satisfying work environment that promotes employee retention and excellence. You'll have the opportunity in October to attend the budget meetings, and there will be discussion there about each of the departments. But if you have questions about how we retain employees out here, ask some questions about the benefit package that our employees have. It's one of the best, certainly in the Tucson area. Goal number 5, the last one the next to last, relates to safety within the community. The Patrol 1 team wants to ensure that we have a safe and dry environment for drivers and pedestrians, especially early in the morning around Ridgeview. There's a couple other things. We have some proactive programs that perhaps other associations don't have, such as the Neighborhood Watch, night patrolling. If you ever got a call about 2 o'clock in the morning and your garage door is open, that's the results of night patrolling. And the resident absence program. So you just turn in a form at the admin office and Patrol 1 comes around and checks your house, the exterior, front and back. There's also a senior safety program that's available for all, and I think that'll kick off again very heavily in the fall time frame when the snowbirds come back. And in terms of cybersecurity for yourself, on the website there's a program called the Know Before program to educate us all on risk and actions available to reduce cybersecurity. Finally, the goal is to pursue excellence and continual improvement in all aspects of maintenance or operations maintenance, service and planning. Rich Sandoval is really working hard to improve and upgrade our information technology system. It's security, it's improved efficiency. And then also in terms of maintenance, John Reed has got an exceptional software program where he manages the maintenance of all the facilities, all of our equipment. And so we need to continue to pursue these objectives with the continual on our mind is that continual improvement. And I truly believe that this is a mindset of all of the staff members seated before you today. Now the next step, if the plan is improved, would be that, in a summary thing, that this provides an overarching blueprint for the future. And it will guide the actions of staff committees and the board in terms of all of the things we plan in our decisions. The plan will be implemented, if approved, in conjunction with the ongoing 25 business planning development, the 2025 budget process, and the long-term financial planning, such as the 10-year projection. And the plan is for the progress report to be provided to all homeowners at the next annual meeting and subsequent years if approved by those future boards. This has been a great effort. I want to just make sure that you all know who participated in this. Certainly all members of the board, the staff, and so many homeowners have participated in this. We feel that this is a community project, not just one person or the board of director project. So I want to thank all these people, and also a special note of thanks to Leslie and then Linda Irwin, who helped me pull together all the data from the responses from homeowners, and Leslie pulled together all the minutes and summarized the meetings, the work sessions that we had. We couldn't have done it without you, so thank you very much. I'd be glad to entertain any questions from board members at this time.
Joe, just personally, I wish there was a word above excellent. I can't find it. I mean, I've been on the board for a while, I've been involved in things, and this is a presentation to me that, and thank you to the task force for polishing it up. To me, I wish I had a word that would go beyond excellent, but I guess I'm stuck with excellent.
Yeah, we'll put a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
move to-
I was already into my comments.
I move to approve the
Thank you.
Saddlebrook 1 5-year plan as presented.
Second.
Now you can go.
Okay, I think I've said my piece.
Okay, I have a couple of comments too, and I want to thank Joe for herding all the cats, and I want to thank everybody for making this end product a better process than perhaps it could have been. It did take us a while. I know that this is just a start, and for those of you that are used to doing even longer range plans, I think we'll get there. But I think this should guide our decisions, and I really did enjoy working in a smaller group because we can work together as board members, even if we can't do it all together. So I think it was a good effort. The one thing that I would like to add that was discussed is that we also have an opportunity not to become complacent. We all know that we have, as Joanne says, we're excellent in several things. It's the community is still moving forward, but I think sometimes you can get complacent. And so I think as the future comes upon us, it'll be everyone's responsibility to stay a little bit ahead of the future and try to predict it as best as possible.
Thank you, Kathleen. I just want to say that I mentioned the task force. 4 people put in a lot of time and a lot of thought went into this. We changed a lot of words. For some reason, our English major from the Boston area provided us great input, and everybody really had a big part in this final product. So, and again, in terms of complacency, Kathleen, I say one of my mantras in life has always been, if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. So.
I'd also like a special thanks to Joe and the task force and all the managers team that took part in putting this together. Excellent job and great thing.
I'd just like to say that the fact that we as individuals on the board and the committee that put this together were able to put on paper without going outside to people who know nothing about our community, who would give us a piece of paper that has no meaning, except that we paid a lot of money for it. This is produced by heartfelt people who put their minds and hard work together to put it on paper, which really is just a reflection of our whole community. I just think it's super that you were able to do it. It's just amazing. Thank you very much for it.
You're welcome.
Any resident comments?
Yes, hello. My name is Richard Cook. I live in Wing 5, Lot 87. Joe, has your team discussed how you're going to get, once it's in place, what type of, how you're going to get feedback from the residents? I mean, I think as a committee and the community and the board wants to have a formal feedback mechanism. And so I don't know if you've talked about that yet. How you would develop a approach to measure your successes on the 6 goals. Because I think that's what we all want to do here, is to measure the board and the committee's successes on your goals. So that to me needs to start being talked about, so you can begin to get formal feedback from the residents here in the community. So I think that's an obvious next step, is to develop that feedback mechanism that aligns to your goals.
Thank you. We spent a lot of time discussing that. When I first did a draft or things like that, I had an objective included to conduct a updated community survey by a certain date in the future. The more we talked about that, and this board hasn't discussed it or we haven't talked with the staff, we question the effectiveness of a community-wide survey which covered, 10, 15 different topics and things like that. So in goal number 4, the first objective there, as we thought, should be to explore options to gather resident priorities and satisfaction level with operations and amenities. Now that could be a flash survey, just about one topic. It could be putting together volunteer focus groups in certain areas. There's a lot of ways that we can gather input. I talked about communications in my early comments about the value of the general manager's coffee. The communicator is another way to gather information. But in terms of the goals, yes, they will be measured. They will be measured and evaluated on an ongoing basis, is my understanding with the board's approval of this. We're going to measure how we do and where are we going, where measurement is possible. That, and many of you may not be aware that each year the members of the staff produce a business plan. And included in that is key performance indicators. So that our general manager throughout the year and at the end of the year has got key performance indicators, and I've already linked this plan to the business plans. I mean, they're linked. And so that and the general manager reports back to the board of directors and to the community, how we've done in certain areas. And also there's some monetary incentives, throughout the year to accomplish those key performance indicators. So yes, we will be monitoring this, and thank you for that comment, because that's a very important aspect of this whole process.
Well, I'm not seeing anyone else come to the microphone, so we'll just go ahead and vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Now we've come to the time in our meeting where you, the residents, can come up to the microphone and ask questions or comments regarding anything about our HOA. So welcome to the mic. Anybody coming up?
Good afternoon, Douglas Wolf, Unit 1, Lot 128. I had a couple questions. One is, when we redo the carpet, are the couches staying or going? That was a very interesting discussion we had. Are they going or staying? Anybody know?
We are looking at that. I don't know that we've, but we do want to keep some seating areas because people do like to come in and use the seating areas for like computer usage and stuff like that, and also to have some drinks. I think it may take a very different look, but there'll still be a comfortable area to wait until your table is ready, if you will, because we're going to have a hostess station right next to it, across from it or so. So we do have that staging area still. But I think that Kelly, and we're probably going to put some groups together to identify exactly what we want that area to look like. And when I say groups together, we'll probably go out and ask the residents for some volunteers and things like that.
Madam Chair, I should have said welcome back, Vivian, the first thing.
Oh, no,
Great
thank
to
you
have
very
back.
much. Thank you.
Sorry about that. So, to be determined.
Yeah.
Okay. I asked almost 2 years ago about looking in the 5-year plan or for IT have an app for our smartphones, because HOA 2 has one. I hope that's in the plan. That's my own personal thing. Cameras on the tennis courts, I would like to have those. We've been asking about that. Not for safety reasons, sort of, but for people could see if the courts are wet when there's not a monitor there. Inexpensive thing to do. I talked to John about the fitness center and the men's locker room and the heating and problems in the mat and the massage room and so forth. And one last thing was we're looking for the golf cart parade policy. We asked the staff, and I went online, and there's not one posted anywhere on how to get the application and how to go through the process. That was about a month ago. So I don't know if it's been updated or ever, but people are asking about it.
I gave the policy to our patrol people along with the forms.
right.
So there is information out there.
Is
And
there
I don't
anything on the
know-
website yet so people can?
Yeah,
can you
it
just
should
look?
be underneath the policies.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I couldn't find it, so
Let
I
me
just
see if
thought
I
I'd
can
ask.
send it to you.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to thank you all for all the hard work, and those are the things I just want to bring up at the end of the meeting. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.